Power, influence, control. These aren't just the tools of world leaders or corporate giants. They are the hidden forces behind every conversation you have. Every day, you're negotiating. When you speak, when you ask, when you listen, you're shaping the world around you. But are you doing it with purpose, or are you leaving opportunity behind? In a world where the loudest voice often gets the most attention, what if the real power lies in strategy, empathy, and understanding the art behind the conversation? This is an SMQ audiobook, your source for mastering the skills that transform your life. We reveal how to turn pressure into confidence, conflict into cooperation, and hesitation into power. Get ready to unlock the most underrated superpower of your life. The deal is waiting. The decision is yours. Let's begin. Chapter 1, The Constant Conversation. Why Negotiation is a Life Skill. Welcome to The Art of Negotiation by Tim Castle. In this foundational chapter, we establish a core truth. You are always negotiating. Life at its core is a constant conversation of influence. Whether you're closing a contract, discussing a promotion, buying a car, or deciding where to go for dinner, you are seeking an agreeable outcome. This realization is the first step toward reclaiming your agency. Castle asserts that negotiation is not a specialized field for CEOs or lawyers. It is a universal life skill. Mastering it puts the power of choice back in your hands. Most people avoid negotiation, viewing it as confrontational or stressful. They associate it with high-stakes courtroom dramas, missing its presence in everyday interactions. Castle shatters this myth, arguing that negotiation is not about being pushy, but about being strategic, self-aware, and bold. It's about being willing to ask for what you want and not settling for less because of perceived social discomfort. He opens the book with a challenge. You can get what you want every time if you learn the skill. This is a profound mindset shift. The ability to negotiate means you no longer walk away from opportunities. You walk into them equipped, confident, and ready. Not negotiating is actively costing you time, money, peace of mind, and confidence. Consider the thousands of dollars left on the table over a lifetime because you accepted the first salary offer. Think about the wasted time spent on projects you didn't want because you couldn't say no. People who succeed consistently haven't just learned to work hard. They've learned how to negotiate effectively and proactively. That's not manipulation. That's ownership and thoughtful self-advocacy. Castle teaches that negotiation is simply communication with intention. Chapter 2, The Mindset Architect, Courage and Self-Belief. Before learning a single tactic, you must first master your mindset. Castle makes it clear. Negotiation is about how you think. Your beliefs, attitude, and internal narrative set the tone long before the conversation begins. The negotiator who believes in their value and walks in with courage wins more often than not. This inner game is where the true power resides. The inner game of negotiation starts with 3 foundational pillars. Self-belief, you are worth it. At the heart of every powerful negotiator is the unshakable truth. I deserve to be here. I deserve to ask. Without this foundation, every tactic fails. Self-belief means you know what you bring to the table and recognize your fundamental right to advocate for yourself, your team, or your goals. You build it by stacking small, internal wins, such as keeping commitments to yourself. These wins reinforce your internal sense of reliability and strength. Affirm this. I am not here to beg for approval. I am here to create value and claim what is fair. Confidence in value. The biggest mistake is negotiating without clear, quantified evidence of your value. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's clarity grounded in data. You must be able to state facts about your skills, past positive outcomes, and the unique benefits you create for the other party. People subconsciously mirror your belief. If you sound unsure, they will doubt you and your proposal. If you speak with quiet authority based on evidence, they lean in. Negotiation is fundamentally a value exchange. Your confidence must be rooted in owning the compelling value you bring. Courage to ask for more. Most people fail here due to the fear of hearing no. They fear rejection, conflict, or damaging the relationship. Castle flips the script. No is not rejection. It's just the beginning of the real conversation. Courage is a muscle. The more you use it in small daily asks, the stronger it becomes. If you don't believe in yourself enough to ask, you give the world explicit permission to undervalue you and accept the default outcome. Castle's transformative idea is shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Scarcity is the fear that there isn't enough to go around. Abundance is the belief in mutual gain and that alternatives exist. A strong negotiator doesn't chase, they attract. This level of confidence only happens when you are operating from a mindset of worth, not worry. This energetic shift is often felt by the other party before you even articulate a single demand. Chapter 3, the 90% rule, strategic pre-negotiation. If confidence is your foundation, preparation is your armor. Castle stresses that the most successful negotiators walk into every discussion armed with research, strategy, and clarity. They don't rely on improvisation. If you haven't prepared thoroughly, you've already compromised your position. True preparation involves 7 critical steps, which should be treated as a checklist. Know your goal, anchor, and reservation point. Define your ideal outcome, your maximum target. Define your absolute minimum acceptable deal, your reservation point. Your ideal outcome becomes the initial anchor you present. Your reservation point is the line in the sand. The conversation ends if the deal falls below it. This clear demarcation prevents emotional compromise under pressure. Strategic empathy, know their pressure and priorities. Shift perspective entirely. What are the other side's motives, priorities, deadlines, and internal political constraints? What are their fears? Great negotiators don't just understand what the other party wants. They understand why they want it and what would genuinely make them feel successful. This intelligence allows you to tailor your proposal to address their needs directly, making it much harder to reject. Build your leverage points. Leverage isn't passive, it's built and identified. Identify what gives you unique strength. It might be a competitive offer, time pressure on their side, unique expertise, or credible alternatives you could walk to. Leverage is simply having options and knowing you can execute them. Even the perception of having strong options shifts the power dynamic in the room. Prepare the opening and justification. Script and practice your first few sentences. The opening must be confident, respectful, and crystal clear about your overall objective. Crucially, prepare the justification for your high anchor. Your initial ask should be immediately followed by the factual, value-based evidence that supports it. Your first impression is a critical piece of leverage. Anticipate and script objections. List every possible objection, concern, or point of pushback the other party might raise. Then craft a clear, confident, and empathetic response to each one. This preparation removes the element of surprise and fear. Objections are not rejection. They are a sign that someone is engaged and seeking clarity before committing. Define your BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Know your BATNA explicitly. What verifiable, realistic plan will you execute if the current deal fails? If you don't have a strong BATNA, you'll feel desperation and settle. Being ready, mentally and tactically, to walk if necessary is the ultimate position of strength because it frees you from the emotional need to close the deal. Mental and environmental rehearsal. Before game day, visualize the entire negotiation process. Picture yourself walking in confidently, stating your value clearly, handling pushback smoothly, and achieving the desired outcome. Additionally, prepare the logistics, controlling the environment if possible, or understanding the space and time limits. This trains your mind and body to perform effectively under pressure. Chapter 4. Asking with Authority, the Irresistible Ask. Castle's core insight is simple. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you ask for with confidence and clarity. The difference between a successful negotiation and a failed one often lies entirely in how you ask. Clarity is non-negotiable. Vague goals lead to vague asks, which lead to weak outcomes. Do not use soft language like, "I was hoping for something better." Instead, state specific, unambiguous metrics. I'm looking for $85,000 as a base salary, plus a 20% equity stake. Specific asks create specific results and convey professionalism. Speak with conviction, not apology. Your tone is everything. Avoid weak, deferential language like, "Would it be okay if I," or "sorry to bring this up, but." These phrases signal insecurity. Use confident, ownership-based framing. Based on the value I bring, I'm asking for. When you speak with self-belief, people take you seriously. Any perceived weakness in your delivery invites doubt in your proposal. Anchor strong, ask high, and justify. The initial figure you propose, the anchor, defines the perceived range of the negotiation. Castle advises asking above your ideal outcome without being absurdly unrealistic. This psychological tool creates space for the final agreement to land where you actually want it. The key is to immediately justify that high anchor with factual data on your value, ensuring your boldness is seen as warranted, not arrogant. Shut up after the ask. This is the silence rule. This is the biggest mistake amateurs make. They talk too much after they ask. Make your clear request and then stop talking. The silence that follows is a strategic tool. It creates pressure, gives the other side space to process your number, and prevents you from instinctively offering concessions prematurely out of discomfort. Your silence is often more powerful than any additional clever sentence. Frame as a win-win through mutual value. Structure your ask so it's not purely self-serving, but also clearly outlines the benefit for the other party. For example, instead of demanding a higher rate, frame it as, a higher rate ensures I can dedicate 100% of my focus to scaling these results for you, guaranteeing a stronger long-term partnership. This transforms a demand into a smart mutual investment. Rehearse the ask until it feels natural. Practice the exact phrasing of your key ask aloud until it feels completely natural and authoritative. Rehearse in front of a mirror or with a partner. This practice builds muscle memory so you won't fumble under the stress of the actual negotiation. Castle says, the first time you say your ask should never be in the room. Chapter 5. The Listener's Advantage. Strategic Empathy. Tim Castle reminds us, the best negotiators talk less and listen more. While many assume persuasive rhetoric is key, the real advantage lies in deep listening, strategic silence, and empathetic understanding of the opposition. Listening is the most underrated weapon. When you listen actively and without interruption, you uncover hidden motives, pain points, constraints, and desires that the other party might not explicitly state. This intelligence is invaluable. Castle's motto is simple. The person who listens better wins better because they know exactly where the pressure points and trade-offs are. Listen to connect, not to reply. Stop planning your next counter-argument while the other party is speaking. Give them your full, undivided attention. Use active listening cues, nodding, brief affirmations, to show engagement. When the other side feels truly heard and respected, their defensive walls come down, making them more receptive to your influence later in the conversation. Master the strategic pause, the silent close. After stating your anchor or asking a crucial question, wait. The resulting silence is a powerful tool. It invites the other party to speak first, often leading them to reveal crucial information, clarify their position, or even offer a concession, just to alleviate the awkwardness of the void. Don't rush to fill the vacuum. Ask open-ended questions to unlock information. Guide the conversation by asking questions that require more than a yes or no answer. Use questions like, can you tell me more about what's preventing you from agreeing to that price? Or, what single factor is most important for you in this deal? These questions uncover their true underlying interests, allowing you to move from rigid positions to creative, collaborative solutions. Listen for the unsaid and the emotional signals. Pay keen attention to tone of voice, hesitations, pace of speech, and body language. The unsaid often carries more weight than the spoken word. If someone seems tense or speeds up their speech when discussing a timeline, probe that area gently. Castle advises, ask the clarifying question they are hesitant to voice out loud. Empathy as a tool for disarmament. Acknowledge their perspective without agreeing to it. Use phrases like, I fully understand why you need to protect your budget here, or that makes perfect sense from your perspective given the current market. This validation is disarming. It shows you respect them, fostering a collaborative atmosphere and paving the way for a solution that addresses both parties' core needs. Chapter 6. Handling Objections, Turning No into Tell Me More. Objections are a fundamental part of negotiation. How you handle them defines your success. Castle teaches that objections are not personal roadblocks. They are simply information requests or signals of unmet needs in disguise. The goal is to turn no into a detailed tell me more. Welcome the objection with composure. Adopt a calm, unruffled demeanor. Never react defensively. View objections as necessary steps towards a deal, a sign that the other party is engaged and interested enough to push back. Acknowledge their point immediately. That is a fair question. Clarify. Don't defend. Never argue against the objection itself. Instead, use clarifying questions to get to the root issue. I appreciate you bringing that up. Can you elaborate on why the delivery schedule is a concern? Often, the objection stated, such as price, is masking the real problem, such as risk or implementation cost. Pinpointing the true obstacle is half the solution. Use the feel, felt, found technique. This is a powerful, empathetic framework designed to normalize the concern and present a solution. I understand how you feel. Others have felt the same way. But what they found was that our solution actually provided the flexibility they needed. You validate emotion, normalize the concern, and present evidence-based reassurance. Isolate the objection and prevent creep. After addressing an objection, ask this critical question. Is this the only thing stopping us from moving forward? If they say yes, you know exactly where to focus your remaining efforts. If they say no, you can list the remaining issues and handle them systematically. This prevents objection creep, where new issues are raised indefinitely, stalling the deal. Use external authority and data. If the objection is subjective, such as, I think the rate is too high, lean on outside data or industry benchmarks. I understand you feel that rate is high, but based on industry benchmarks for this specific level of expertise and market demand, this is the current standard. Authority shifts the focus from your opinion versus theirs to a factual, depersonalized discussion. Chapter 7, Advanced Tactics, Anchoring, and Framing. Great negotiators strategically use psychology. Castle highlights 2 advanced tactics. Anchoring leverages cognitive bias. Framing controls the narrative. The power of anchoring, leveraging primacy bias. This is the cognitive bias where people rely too heavily on the first piece of information offered, the anchor. Strategic first anchor. Always set the first figure or proposal, and ensure it is high but realistic. Even if the final agreement is far from your initial anchor, it subconsciously pulls the entire range of the negotiation in your favor. Never let fear lower your opening number, the counter anchor. If the other party sets an anchor that is unacceptably low, you must acknowledge it briefly, but immediately throw out a strong counter anchor to reestablish the range. Example, I hear your proposal of X dollars, which is lower than we anticipated. Based on the comprehensive value of our solution, we need to begin our serious conversation at Y dollars. Framing the narrative, controlling perception. Control the context and perspective of the deal to favor your position. The loss aversion frame. People are psychologically twice as motivated to avoid a loss as they are to acquire an equivalent gain. Frame your offer around what they will lose if they do not agree or delay the decision. Example, if we delay implementation by 2 weeks, you risk losing an estimated Z dollars in market share to your competitors. The fairness and legitimacy frame. Structure your proposal around principles of equity, industry standards, or established precedent. People hate feeling cheated. By constantly appealing to established fairness, you make it psychologically difficult for the other party to refuse without appearing unreasonable. The opportunity cost frame. Highlight the value of time and the cost of inaction. If they drag the negotiation, emphasize the cost of the missed opportunity or the drain on resources. This creates a constructive, fact-based urgency to commit. Chapter 8. The walkaway strategy, knowing your limits. Your greatest leverage, according to Castle, is your unwavering willingness to walk away. This is tied directly to your BATNA, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement, and your reservation point, your absolute minimum. Strengthening your BATNA, your plan B. Negotiation strength is derived from having strong options. If you have a solid, verified Plan B, you negotiate without fear or desperation. Castle advises always nurturing your alternatives. Research competitors, secure backup offers, or strengthen your ability to execute your independent option. The mental readiness and reservation point. You must be mentally and emotionally prepared to end the conversation if your reservation point is not met. If you fear the consequence of walking away, you will inevitably settle for less than you deserve. This requires emotional discipline. Trust your preparation and your minimum boundary. The gentle, professional walkaway. Walking away should be done with grace, professionalism, and clarity, never out of anger or emotional reaction. State your reason clearly. Connect it back to your established value or minimum requirements, and always keep the door open for future opportunities. Example, I sincerely appreciate your time, but at this rate, it falls below our threshold for sustainable quality. I hope we can reconnect if your requirements or budget change, communicating confidence through detachment. When the other party senses that you don't need the deal because you have a viable alternative, you project quiet, powerful confidence. This detachment often leads the other party to improve their offer at the last minute to prevent you from leaving. Remember that sometimes the best result is not a deal, but maintaining your standards. That mindset is key to long-term success. Chapter 9, Negotiating Relationships, Long-Term versus Short-Term. Not all negotiations are created equal. Castle distinguishes between transactional, short-term, and relational, long-term negotiations. The approach must fundamentally change based on the goal. Transactional, one-time deals. In these negotiations, such as buying furniture or a car from a stranger, maximizing your immediate financial gain is often the primary goal. You can be firmer, more direct, and less concerned with maintaining rapport, as you likely won't deal with the counterparty again. The focus is purely on positions and money, relational, ongoing partnerships. These require a dedicated focus on preserving and strengthening the relationship. The goal is to maximize the total negotiating value, the TNV, over the life of the partnership, not just the first deal. In relational talks, prioritize collaborative language, mutual success, and creating a strong foundation of trust and respect. Use a softer opening but remain firm on core value. The art of strategic concession. Concessions should be earned, never given freely. Castle suggests making small, non-monetary concessions first, like minor flexibility on the timeline or providing extra reporting to show goodwill without giving up major value. Crucially, when you make a concession, always ask for one in return. This anchors the idea that every piece of value is traded, preventing the other party from expecting more for free. Finding shared interests, expanding the pie. In relational negotiations, spend extra time identifying shared long-term goals and underlying interests. Focus on expanding the pie, finding new value streams or creative solutions that benefit both parties, rather than just fighting over how to divide the existing resource. This transforms the negotiation from a zero-sum game into a mutually beneficial collaboration. Chapter 10. The Daily Negotiation, Building Habitual Confidence. Confidence is not a switch you flip for the big moments. It is a discipline built in the small daily moments. Castle encourages developing consistent rituals that train your mindset for habitual persuasion and self-advocacy. Practice small, low-stakes tasks daily. Make it a daily habit to ask for minor things. Ask for a discount at a store, an upgrade, a slightly different deadline from a colleague, or a favor. This low-stakes practice builds the muscle of courage and normalizes the act of asking, making the big asks feel less intimidating. Celebrate every time you speak up, regardless of the outcome. The power pose and physicality ritual. Before any important conversation or meeting, take 60 seconds to consciously adopt confident, open body language. Stand tall, take deep, controlled breaths, and ground yourself. Your body language, tone, eye contact, and breath all communicate your self-belief to the other party before you utter a single word. This physical routine helps manage the nervous energy that can undermine your authority. Continuous learning and debriefing. After every negotiation, big or small, conduct a quick, honest self-review. Ask yourself, what worked exceptionally well? What surprised me? Where did I fail to ask for more or settle too quickly? What did the other party value most? This non-judgmental feedback loop accelerates your growth from an average participant to a world-class negotiator. Ownership, not argument. Ultimately, negotiation is not about winning a debate. It's about clear communication, strategic preparation, and owning your worth. When you believe you've earned your seat at the table and you've done the pre-work, asking for what you want is not arrogance. It's the responsible act of an owner. As Tim Castle teaches, the most powerful negotiators are not the smartest in the room. They're the ones who consistently believe they belong there and prepare rigorously to prove it. You have now internalized the core principles of the art of negotiation. This journey is about learning to own your worth, speak your truth, and never settle again. Negotiation is not just a skill, it's a fundamental choice to actively shape your life and your outcomes. Do not let this knowledge remain just theory. Choose one small thing to negotiate this week, a deadline, a service rate, or simply where you go for dinner. Practice this strategic pause. Rehearse your question. You have the tools, now go use them. Go forward and negotiate boldly. Your next big breakthrough is waiting for you to simply ask for it.